Hello everyone, welcome to Accurate Taxation's Payday Super webinar. This webinar will basically inform you on what Payday Super is and how you can get ready for it in time when it starts from the 1st of July 2026. This is general information, not tailored financial taxation or legal advice. You can contact a professional tax accountant if you want to rely on it. You can book an appointment with us at autax.com.au if you want to have further meeting and get this implemented in your business. So what is Payday Super? Payday Super is basically a big change in the timing and the calculation also and the reporting also. From the 1st of July, Payday Super has to be paid on every pay run. Previously, there was a quarterly option where you could pay within 4 weeks of the end of the quarter, and that was convenient. So there were four payments a year, but now it will be on the date that you pay your employee. And if you pay them weekly, you will have 52 pay cycles. If you pay them fortnightly, 26, monthly, 12. So yeah, so a lot of increase in workload, and you have to have your data, everything ready in time. There is no time to make mistakes. The super guarantee remains same at 12%, but the calculation has changed. There is a new concept called qualifying earnings. Previously it was ordinary time earnings. I'll explain later. There are some differences in it, and will it's mostly on the accountant side, but to set up, but you should know about it. So the reporting is usually previously used to be done through single touch payroll, and that will continue, but the timing will now change to the pay cycle. So as I mentioned earlier, the main changes are in PAYG, in the super guarantee payment timing, which is now on every pay run instead of once a quarter. And you have 7 business days before the funds are received by the super fund. So it's not paid. So if you do a pay run on day one and you pay your staff on day one, then within 7 business days the money should hit their bank account. It's not that I paid on the 6th day, there was a clearing delay. That will still count as a delay. So that is very important. There are some exceptions, especially for new employees. So you can look at that. If you have got new employees, there's additional time. And the calculation is basically the percentages remained same, but the terminology on which it is calculated is changed from OTE to qualified earnings. Qualified earnings basically includes everything other uh, ordinary time earnings plus some other payments we'll go through later in another slide. So single touch reporting, yeah, earlier there was an option that you could report just the earnings or the super liability, but from 1st of July, both the ordinary earnings, qualified earnings and super liability both have to be reported. And another big change is the small business super clearing house run by the ATO will close on the 30th, actually on uh, 1 minute before 12 in the night, in the evening, and it won't be available after 1st July. So um, we'll discuss that bit more in detail also. You will need to make sure that you have downloaded all the data that you have put on there, because it will not even be available, and this is important. You need to have your data backed up before it closes. So basically a quick timeline. You need to understand what super is. ATO has been sending out a lot of information on Payday Super, and we have included the sources at the end of this session also, so you can review those. And you need to start preparing for that. The most important thing is that you should have all your employees super fund details ready and verified, because if at the time of payment there is incorrect information and the super fund bounces it, you will not have the time to fix it and pay within the 7 business days timeline, because the super fund also will take some time. So you will then be late in paying your super guarantee. And Jan to March super was the last super that you could pay via the small business clearing house. That is the final payment, unless you make the quarterly payment for the April to June quarter before the 30th of June. If you do that, but I would not advise, because it's closing on the last day. If there is any delay or something happens, your money may float in limbo, so not advisable. And yeah, so 30th June at 11:59 p.m. That is the last day, last minute, I would say. Make sure you download all your records and work out on your new system, so you know how it works. So SBSCH is closing anyway, so you can't rely on that now. Payday Super starts, and as discussed, we'll have to pay Super every payday. And the June quarter will still be payable by the 28th of July 26. So you will have the 4 weeks. So, but you in the month of July you will have your sort of cash flow will be hit, because you will be paying the 3 months super, as well as you will also be paying the payday super. So a bit of cash flow issue in the month of July, but the deadlines are firm, so you need to prepare in advance. Here we will learn what is the difference between the ordinary time earnings and qualified earnings. So basically, qualified earnings are upgrade. It includes ordinary time earnings. So whatever was there in OTE earlier is included in QE. All commissions, so this is an addition, so including commissions. So commissions were included earlier, but commissions for work performed outside ordinary hours was not included in OTE, which is now included. So that's in addition, plus salary sacrifice that would have qualified as OE had they not been sacrificed. So for example, if the work performed outside ordinary hour, commission on that work, if the employee salary sacrifices it, it will still be included in QE. And this is a major issue here. Definition of workers has been expanded. Earnings paid to workers who are basically independent contractors, and they are paid mainly just for their labor. That's a separate point to discuss, whether your independent contractors are employees or not. There is a lot of focus by the ATO on something called sham contracting, and you need to ensure that your contractors are contractors, or if they are not, put them on wages. And so yeah, that's sham contracting. You need to be aware of that. That's a separate issue, very important. ATO is tightening up on that. But here, even independent contractors who are contractors for all the others, so they don't fit the sham contracting, they are genuine contractors, but they are paid only for labor, then you will need to pay their super and report that. That's reporting is also discussed later. So this slide shows you what is ordinary time earnings, which was previously applicable, and from the 1st of July qualified earnings. So you'll see there is no difference except in the commission paid for work done outside ordinary hours. So previously that was not included, so you didn't pay super on that. Now you have to. Salary sacrifice, non-OTE, overtime, etc. still not applicable in both. Overtime payments, you still don't pay super, so there is no change in that part. So this is a small difference between, in a nutshell, what is the difference before and after. Previously, the rate has not changed, 12%, so you still calculate that the base on which it is applied has changed from OTE to QE. So it might go up because QE includes at least one item more than what QT had. Commission on work done outside ordinary hours, that is also included, so your super may go up. And the pay timing has changed from quarterly to payday. So yeah, that's a big change. Reporting has changed. Earlier you had the option to either report the earnings or the super liability. Now both have to be reported. The other major change is in the background of how the ATO basically imposes penalties on late payments. So as you know, you have 7 business days to make sure that the funds are received in the employees super. The base remains same, the calculation 12% remains same. The base has changed actually, 12%, the percentage remains same. You discussed that earlier. The interest was earlier 10% plus a flat administration fee, so it was more or less fixed. So, but from 1st of July now, this is the major change. All 3 points. First, it compounds daily, so it will increase very fast. It will compound daily, and it is based on the general interest rate, which you have to keep an eye on. It is variable changes, so if it goes up, you're paying more. If it goes down, well, this usually is more or less stable, but yeah, you need to keep an eye on that. Plus, instead of the flat admin fee, so you knew what your liability was, you have an administrative uplift, which is same as admin fee, but it is variable. And as you can see here, this is the big issue. um, if there is a delay in payment, okay, and you voluntarily disclose that to the ATO, then the administrative uplift will probably be going down. And it also depends on the employee's history of earlier meeting their super guarantee obligations, so it is variable. Assessment was basically, assessment is who reported. What is assessment was basically who reported the delay, or who prepared the super guarantee charge statement. It was done by the company or the employer himself. Usually they would say they would prepare a statement uh, based on their own, and sometimes the ATO would pick up or get some report from the super, and they would send out that your super is late, please prepare the SGC statement, which was super guarantee charge statement. So this statement basically includes the unpaid super, it includes the interest, and it includes a penalty and a total amount employee wise. So you have to pay, you have to first lodge that statement and then pay that amount to the tax office, which then distributes it to the employees. But that is now changing, and from 1st of July 26, this entire process will be assessed by the ATO. That is why the voluntary disclosure becomes very important. So if this is assessed by the ATO and they send you out to pay the super guarantee charge, then your cost of administrative uplift may be higher. But if you disclose and you just say that okay, we delayed for whatever reason, then that charge may be reduced by the ATO. Now this is the first positive thing in this entire from an employer's point of view. So you have compliance, you have super going up, you have more admin, you have more penalty, you have more chances of being assessed. But there is a silver lining to the cloud, to the dark, very dark cloud. Earlier, whatever you paid for SGC was not a claimable deduction. That has now changed. So depending on what tax slab you are, that is a, I mean, hopefully you're not late and you don't pay SGC, but in case you do, that will be a deductible expense. And another major change is also positive, is that the penalty 200% on that amount of shortfall, which you could negotiate with the tax office, but it could go up to 200, is going to be 25 or 50% depending on your situation. So if you do a voluntary disclosure, you've got lesser penalty or you can negotiate, but at least the top limit has reduced. So these are basically reporting. As I briefly informed earlier, that now you have to report not only the earnings, the qualified earnings, but also the liability. Previously, you had the option to do either or both. So, and they will start rejecting STP reports that don't have both the information. There's a hard deadline. Don't wait on that headline, just start, the deadline, just start reporting both from 1st of July, including the contractors, though they say it is optional. But if you are doing the calculation and if you are going to pay the super, then just as well report it to keep track of it. That way, you're not missing out. Because if we say, if you have to pay the super for contractors who are mainly for their labor, and if you're paying, then might as well report it. And now there is some excess super that you pay for awards, industry agreements, that is over 12%. So that can still be reported in the STP. So you've got that option. This is mainly from the super stream point of view, and people who are having their self-managed super fund, it's not really much applicable. I mean, from understanding point of view, it is, but this is more of a super fund's responsibility. So there are some changes in the super stream, and yeah. So one point that helps the employers is the member verification request, which is a request you can send through your super software to the funds to verify the super fund information. So this is the important thing that we need to do before the payday super hits. So before, in the first week of July or before 30th of June, you need to go into your software and ensure that you put the information of your employees in there, and verify it with the super fund. So once that is accurate, you can run the payday super easily. If it is not, you got time to contact the employees and fix it. So very important. So yeah, so the super fund will intimate in some cleaner and clearer messaging, and there'll be new payment platform they will be able to receive via that, and fund validation services, mergers, and all that will also be intimated in a more timely manner to basically, because it's not only the employers who have a 7-day deadline. The super fund also has a very short deadline, I think 3 days, to return the super that is incorrect, that they have received. And here this is very important. If your super for that particular pay run is $500.56 56 cents, you need to make sure you pay exactly that amount. A small cent difference and the super fund will reject it, and you will not have time to pay again within the 7 days, and you will actually then pay super guarantee charge with penalties. So it's very, very important to keep track of that. Usually this is done through the software, which will be automated, but just in case you're manually paying, you need to ensure that. So this is just again reiterating that super small business super clearing housing is closing. You need to find an alternative. March would be the final payment, and that would already have passed. So download and record the information that of all the past payments, so you have that, because you will not be able to do that later. And set up your payday super to start paying through the new setup. So this is basically the summarization of this webinar. You need to first understand what payday super is, which you hopefully do now, and the resources at the end of this slides will also basically give you more information. It's basically that you have to pay super every payday now, and you can watch the ATO videos and guidelines that are there in the links in the end, and you can search on the ATO website also. Basically, prepare your cash flow, because in the month of July you will have extra super payments for 3 months, plus the April, May, June super will also be payable, and you'll also have your payday super to pay. So check your employees details before that through your software and correct them. If there's any changes, get in touch with your employee. Make sure, and this is important, I have noticed many times people, my clients, I'm sure a lot of them hire employees and start paying wages, but do not collect the TFN declaration and super choice form. That is not how it should be. It's always been compulsory, and more so now, because if you don't collect the super choice form from them, the super choice penalty is also applicable. Plus, you will be late in paying the super because you don't know where to pay. so you'll be hit double. The penalties are high, so better to avoid. Make sure you have a software compatible, and record or download all your records from the super small business super clearinghouse. You know what QE is? Basically it's just the old OTE, ordinary time earnings, plus some other items. And yeah, so March quarter would have already been paid, but yeah, just reiterating. And then from 1st of July, yeah, super guarantee will be paid on payday, must be received by the fund within 7 days. So basically, you should target automation through your software. That's how we will set up. We set up either QuickBooks or Zero, and basically the single touch bill reporting will be done every payday, and at the same time we will basically report the super liability, and the payment will also happen automatically. So we set that up. Book an appointment at autax.com.au, and we'll help you set that up. So the liability reporting will be in super touch, single touch payroll, and yeah, so June quarter will have to be paid by 28th of July. So these are some changes else the fund has to look at. So not really from an employer's perspective, but some of you may have self-managed super funds. So now so you have to ensure that you can request a stapled fund and offer it to the employee and give them the super choice form also. The choice form still needs to be provided. There is a penalty if you don't provide a super choice form to your employee, so employer needs to provide that from that perspective. So this is applicable to employers. And the second point is applicable to self-managed super funds or other funds which have 3 business days to allocate the contributions or return them. So these are the resources where you can find more information. ato.gov.au, that's the website for all of them, slash payday super, payday resources, OTE, QE. You can look at ato.gov.au slash QE to understand what is included in your QE, so that you can classify it correctly in your software. So this is one of the biggest mistakes that I have noticed, is the wrong classification. So which results in your software not calculating the correct super, and which subsequently at some point in time will come back to you as a penalty, or the ATO will raise a director's penalty notice, which means you will be personally liable for that shortfall. So how to pay super, super stream, paying super, all those compliance, how the ATO will approach the compliance. So all of that, and you can basically get in touch with us for more information. Book an appointment, and we'll take you through the setup and what you need to do. Finally, this video is for general information, not personal advice. Obviously, there are a lot of small things that need to be looked at from each client's case is different, and there may be something applicable to you, or you may have some exemptions which may not be available to others. So yeah, before acting, please confirm the correct position, read the resources, get in touch with us at autax.com.au to book an appointment, and we'll take you through this setup and prepare you for Payday Super come 1st of July. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good day.